Hi viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're a new subscriber, please do well to click on the subscribe button and click on the notification button to get notifications when I post new videos. And if you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for your support. Well, today I want to share something that really blessed me. I was studying the book of Second Chronicles chapter 18, and because of time I won't be able to go through the whole chapter, but then it's a chapter I want you to go and study on your own, and I really trust God that is going to bless your life. Well, I would start with verse 3. That's Second Chronicles chapter 18 verse 3, and it says, "Will you go with me to Ramoth Gilead?" King Ahab of Israel asked King Jehoshaphat of Judah. Jehoshaphat replied, "Why, of course, you and I are as one, and my troops are your troops. We will certainly join you in battle." Verse 4. Then Jehoshaphat added, "But first, let's find out what the Lord says." And my main point is, Jehoshaphat's reply said, "But first, let's find out what the Lord says." Now we are going into a new year, and many of us are making plans, making decisions. But I want to ask you, as you're making your decisions, as you're planning, have you involved God in your planning? Have you involved God in your decisions? Jehoshaphat in this chapter just said he didn't have a problem with going to war with King Ahab, but then he was of the opinion that I first inquire what the Lord has to say. So it is important that in this new year, for every step you want to take, for everything you want to do, make sure you inquire from God. Know what the will of God really is concerning that situation, so that you won't be doing the same thing the same way every year and expecting a different result, because it's actually not possible for you to do something the same way over and over again and expect that you get a different result. Inquire of God. No matter how little that plan or decision you want to make may seem to you, it is very important that you inquire of God and know what the will of God is concerning that situation. Now, if you read down in that chapter, you realize that King Ahab actually inquired of the prophet, but the Bible made it clear that he inquired from the heading prophet. And then when his heading prophet has spoken, King Jehoshaphat was still of the opinion that, is there no man of God, is there no true prophet of God that can tell us what God is actually saying? Because he wasn't satisfied with what the heading prophets of King Ahab have said. And then King Ahab said that there is a particular prophet, but that prophet always speaks evil of him. He never speaks anything good about him. And King Jehoshaphat said they should get that prophet. And then a messenger was sent to go and bring him. Now, I'll read from verse 13, or rather from verse 12, what the messenger told the prophet he went to bring. Meanwhile, the messenger who went to get Micaiah, that's the prophet, said to him, "Look, all the prophets are promising victory for the king. Be sure that you agree with them and promise success." But Micaiah replied, "As surely as the Lord lives, I will say only what my God says." Verse 14. When Micaiah arrived before the king, Ahab asked him, "Micaiah, should we go to war against Ramoth Gilead, or should I hold back?" Micaiah replied sarcastically, "Yes, go up and be victorious, for you will have victory over them." But the king replied sharply, "How many times must I demand that you speak only the truth to me when you speak for the Lord?" Then Micaiah told him, "In a vision, I saw all Israel scattered on the mountains, like sheep without a shepherd. And the Lord said, their master has been killed. Send them home in peace. Verse 17. Didn't I tell you? The king of Israel exclaimed to Jehoshaphat. He never prophesies anything but trouble for me. Then Micaiah continued, listen to what the Lord says. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne with all the armies of heaven around him on his right and on his left. And the Lord said, who can entice King Ahab of Israel to go into battle against Ramoth Gilead so he can be killed? There were many suggestions, and finally a spirit approached the Lord and said, I can do it. How will you do it? The Lord asked. And the spirit replied, I will go out and inspire all of Ahab's prophets to speak lies. You will succeed, said the Lord. Go ahead and do it. Now you can see in this verses down, King Ahab already knew that what the prophet said in the first place was not actually what God has told him to say. But then the problem is he wanted to hear God, but he doesn't want to follow the instructions that God is giving him. In this new year, I don't know what it is that God is instructing you to do. I don't know what it is He's talking to you about, but you do not want to listen. How do you think you can start the new year? How do you think you can move successfully in the new year without following the instructions of God? Sometimes what God is saying to us might not be something very palatable to us. It might not be something we want to hear. It might not be something we want to do. But then we just have to do it because that's his will. Nevertheless, when you disobey, there is always a repercussion for the disobedience. Because if you read through this chapter, you realize that at the end of it, King Ahab actually went for the battle and he died. Now when you read down, you realize that while they were preparing for the battle, King Ahab, already knowing that he was the suspect or the target, told King Jehoshaphat that he should put on his kingly robe while he, King Ahab, disguises himself. And then King Jehoshaphat agreed, and then he went with his kingly robe. But something happened. While he was in the battlefield, the people of Syria saw him, and then they felt that this is the king they are looking for, and then they started running after him. And in the course of running after him, King Jehoshaphat just shouted to God. He cried out to God that God should help him, and God now made those people running after him to realize their mistake, that he is not the king they are looking for. Now, a lot of times as children of God, as Christians, we have problems, we have challenges, and instead of calling upon God, instead of running to God, we keep lamenting, we keep worrying, we keep complaining. That doesn't solve the problem. In this new year, change your strategy, change how you do things, listen to the voice of God when he speaks to you. Do not do anything without seeking the face of God first. And even in the midst of the distress and everything that would happen, because circumstances or challenges will definitely come, it's part of life. Do not lament. Just make sure you call upon God, and trust me, he would answer you. Thanks for watching, and I want to believe that you are blessed. Let me know in the comment section. Thank you.